valued viewers. I hope you're all doing very well. A special shout out to my Super Thanks contributor at Tom LaHaye. And because of his contribution being more than $20, he has selected a video that he would like me to do. And that video was the Belgian Railways Sncb-Nmbs 462 Pacific Type 1, which were the largest on the European railways. And a quick reminder that if you would like a video done such as this one, contributed $20 or more on my Super Thanks, and that video that you select takes priority over any project that I have going on at the moment. So with that, let's get to the video. Enjoy. Undoubtedly, the mighty Class 1 Pacific locomotives formed the high point of the Belgian steam locomotive building. Between 1935 and 1938, 35 units were built as road numbers 1.001 to 1.035. Their very successful external shape clearly characterized their mighty power. They were used mostly pulling heavy express trains on routes out of Brussels through Luxembourg City, with an average speed of 80 to 100 kilometers or 50 to 63 miles an hour, with a performance of 3,400 horsepower, an axle load of 22 metric tons, and a maximum speed of 120 kilometers an hour or 75 miles per hour. They occupied a position of honor in international comparisons. This new 462 Pacific had a driving wheel diameter of 78 inches, the pilot truck wheel diameter was 35 7/16 of an inch, and the trailing truck wheel diameter was 42 inches. The trailing truck was characteristic of all 462 Pacific types found in American locomotives. The running gear had 4 cylinders, but not in the version otherwise usual in European as compound running gear. All 4 cylinders were provided with fresh steam. Naturally, this had the advantage of high RPM, good acceleration, and smooth running. This also meant no overly large low-pressure cylinders had to be installed. However, this was achieved at the cost of greater steam and coal consumption, so that the very large firebox was required, which was even equipped with 2 fire doors. In instances where great effort was required, 2 firemen were occasionally employed. Based on experience in France, Kilchep forced draught equipment with 2 blast pipes, and thereby 2 smokestack was installed. The flow channels for the steam engine were also thermically optimized in their design. As opposed to German steam locomotives, the engineer stood on the left in Belgian locomotives so that the control rod was also located on the left side of the boiler. The frame was built as a bar frame with cross supports of cast steel. The cylinder block was also constructed of cast steel, and to be more precise, they were constructed of 2 cast halves bolted together. Externally, the locomotives could be recognized immediately from the somewhat streamlined front with a firebox door slanted at the upper edge, and also with large smoke deflectors. The effect of streamlining the cab adapted to the boiler and the boiler cladding was very modern. Most of the piping was located under this cladding, unlike on German locomotives where it was on the boiler. The locomotive thus appeared very elegant and smooth. Although in proper meaning of the word, it did not have streamlined cladding. The single headlight was typical for this locomotive. It was also, so to speak, a single lamp headlight. Later, the locomotives were converted to a double or even triple headlights. These locomotives were coupled to a large tender that rolled on two axle trucks. It carried 38 cubic meters or 10,038 gallons of water and 10.5 metric tons of coal. This was about the same as the capacity of the 5-axle tender for the German Class 5 or 45. However, these locomotives at 126 metric tons without the tender were very heavy. The axle load of up to 24 metric tons was also a record for that time. The Class 1 also exceeded the performance of their predecessor, which was the Class 10 Pacific, by up to 40%, so that by 1938, 35 units of this impressive locomotive had been delivered by several Belgian locomotive builders. They soon took over all important train service on the main route between the Brussels and Luxembourg route that I mentioned earlier. World War II soon ended this, and these locomotives were also used in lesser service. At the beginning of the 50s, when things went back to normal, the Belgian State Railroad began large-scale purchases of diesel locomotives, above all the Class 202, the famous NOHAB units. After a short time, these new locomotives took over the most important express train service on non-electrified routes. At that point in time, the Class 1 was very quickly displaced to subordinate services, and it was used with domestic passenger cars such as the typical M2 passenger cars, instead of with the great express trains. The end then came very quickly, and by 1962, all of the locomotives in this class were retired, and only one survived, which was number 1.002, and that was preserved and was even made operational again for the 150th anniversary of the Belgian railways in 1985. And currently, this locomotive is no longer operational, and it can be viewed at south in Belgium near the French border. And thus, we still have the possibility of looking at one of the most quite extraordinary locomotives with its special technology, even if we can no longer experience it in operation. And with that, the following specifications apply to the Belgian Railways Sncb-NMBS Class 1 462 Pacific. The locomotive weight was 122 long tons. The tender weight was 84.6 long tons. The water capacity was 11,000 US gallons or 48,000 liters. The firebox grade area was 53.8 square feet. The boiler pressure was 265 psi. The cylinders were 4 at 16.54 inches by 28.35 inches. The tractive effort was 44,710 pounds. The class was a Type 1. And all were withdrawn from service in 1962, and as mentioned, one was preserved, the 1.002. And with that, we'll wrap up this video, and I shall thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed the content today, please hit the like button. And also, if you've not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button, as both features help the channel grow immensely. And don't forget to support the channel with the super thanks if you care to. And we thank you once again.